This feels like an unfortunate place to start off an essay like this, especially given the intro you saw there, but I didn't want to start this off with a ramble about TikTok challenges and how deadly they've been, because everybody already knows that. Well, I guess so is this video, but I wanted to start things off lightly before we dive into today's subject. So let's start it off with the console that started all of this in the first place. The Nintendo Wii, often seen now as a fun little console with a weird but versatile controller and a massive game library, but what was once a marvelous piece of technology and marketing for Nintendo. When the Wii first released in 2006, it did receive a lot of criticism for not being as powerful as its main competitors, the Xbox 360 and the then coming PlayStation 3. It was already bad enough that the GameCube had sold fairly poorly compared to the NES and SNES. However, Nintendo wasn't focusing on graphics and being powerful. Instead, they had done their best with how to advertise it, and it worked, turning the idea of a video game console into an all-around media device, allowing you to check the weather, go on the internet, watch streaming, etc., and giving it a rectangular controller stylized to look like a television remote. My water bottle popped. To look like a television remote with a gimmick that really overstayed its welcome.
If I'm going to spend a long period of time with my hand wrapped around an oblong object, moving it rapidly up and down, it sure won't be with this game.
And you have to push the Nintendo Wii to become one of the biggest selling consoles of all time, only being beaten by the PlayStation 2 and now just recently being beaten by the Nintendo Switch. We don't talk about the console that released in between that. That never happened. But today, my friends, we are not going to be talking about this loyal console. Instead, today, we are going to be talking about a very controversial challenge that loomed this beloved console almost right after its inception. It's a challenge known by many for being thoughtless and incautious, and would be one that would unfortunately lead to the demise of one contestant. That's right, everyone. Today, we are going to be talking about Hold Your Wii for a Wii, a contest hosted by KDND's 107.9, aka The End, a very unfortunate title, that claimed the life of one Jennifer Strange, a 28-year-old mother due to water intoxication, leading to a massive payout from the station and an eventual shutdown. It's a very tragic story to read, but it does make me question, what happened? What made the station think that risking lawsuits and water intoxication on random citizens was a bright idea? What was the origin of all this? How did it come up to all of this? Well, today, my friends, that's what we're going to find out. This is Hold Your Wii for a Wii, the Nintendo contest that ended in tragedy. Now, I just gotta say before I dive in, today's essay is gonna be a little bit differently edited compared to the ones I've done in the past, mainly because there's not a lot I could do visually, because this is all mainly done on the radio. There's only a few pictures and some audio files, and that's it. So most of this will have to be done by webcam. And I know this might be a little bit inappropriate to say in the middle of the sentence, but a subscription to the channel would definitely help a lot. So with all that said, let's dive right into the video. Let's start with the origins of the local radio station that started this in the first place, KDND, aka The End. The End was a local radio station in Sacramento, California, which started in 1947 as an FM simulcast to the AM radio station KXOA. This simulcast was part of the then Mutual Broadcasting System, which was known at the time for being the home of the Adventures of Superman radio show, The Lone Ranger, and even announcing the MLB and NFL. In 1957, they would separate from Mutual to become a top 40 music station and would later be sold to a company called Cal-Val Radio. They would begin to experience a slew of changes from then on, mainly from the idea of the AM and FM stations being separated. Some changes include the FM station being an all-country station, which is honestly a fate worse than death if you ask me, being sold off to numerous companies, the curtailing of AM/FM simulcasts in the 60s, and even a point in time where they split the music schedule by the time of the day, Cartoon Network Adult Swim style, playing adult contemporary from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and top 40 programming from 3 p.m. to midnight. However, finally, they would split the AM and FM stations in 1970 and would consistently play a rock and adult contemporary until all the way up to July 14th, 1998 at 12 p.m. noon, where they switched back one last time to a top 40 station and would be given the name 107.9 The End, a name that would only be fitting for the years to come. Shortly after The End was given its final changes, in 2001, Nintendo released the GameCube, a pretty sustainable console that released to modest success. Being sold over 21 million units at the time, it wasn't exactly groundbreaking in sales that Nintendo was hoping for. Now, it was actually a pretty powerful console of its time, so Nintendo decided for their next console to not be focused more. Shigeru Miyamoto, Satoru Iwata, and Genyo Takeda met up to discuss on marketing research and console concepts. That's when Iwata had the brilliant idea of creating a console that could play past Nintendo games. Oh, the irony! And a console that wouldn't feel cluttering compared to how their previous consoles were designed and hooked up to the television. Miyamoto then had the perfect idea of a controller that used gyrations and motion technology. Iwata revealed at the 2004 E3 that they were working on a new console at the time, codenamed the Revolution. But prior to that E3 presentation, Iwata had actually referred to the console as the GameCube Next, or the GCN. Fun fact, that's actually where the GameCube initials used in Mario Kart's retro courses come from. So have you ever wondered why they were called GCN and not GC or NGC? That's why. The year later, at E3 2005, the console would be finally seen to the public to mass appeal, with the console releasing the following year in 2006. It was a revolutionary concept at the time. A sleek console with a controller that felt like a remote, they should give it a name sometime, and all of that while being a console that could be backwards compatible with GameCube games and controllers? Sign me the f*** up! And 101 million people agreed. The console immediately started flying off store shelves, and it was selling out everywhere here in the US. It was almost impossible to get a hold of one because of how popular they were. And so that gave KD&D's 107.9 The End an idea. An awful idea. KD&D had a wonderful, awful idea.
Those people that are drinking all that water can get sick and possibly die from water intoxication.
Yeah, we're aware of that. They sign releases, so we're not responsible. Hey, Carter, is anybody dying in there?
We got a guy that's just about to die.
Oh, good. Make sure you sign that we laugh at that. Yeah. Make sure he signs the release. Get the insurance on that.
On January 12, 2007, nearly 2 months after the console had released, KD&D held the now infamous on-air contest Hold Your Wii for a Wii, a contest in which a select amount of contestants had to drink as much water as possible without the need to urinate or vomit. No real reason was given as to why they thought this would be a good idea, but it's easy to tell from the title why they chose it. You know, Hold Your Wii for a Wii. Wonderful publicity. In total, about 20 contestants had entered the competition. One of them would be Jennifer Strange, a 28-year-old mother of 3 who was destined to win her family the console. And so, the contest had begun. The contest started around 6:45 a.m., and each contestant was put in a room and was given 8 ounces of water to drink, with them being given more water as the contest continued. During the contest, the disc jockeys who were hosting the competition had already become fully aware of the Matt's Law in California, but they simply chose to ignore it, even poking fun at it. Even a nurse got on a call with them telling them how dangerous and deadly this contest would be, and they simply continued and mocked that they had signed releases so that they couldn't be sued.
They sign releases, so we're not responsible.
Well, we'll get to that later. So as time passes, Jennifer's belly began to enlarge. She had drank nearly 2 gallons of water at this point, and she was starting to feel pretty nauseous. And the disc jockeys actually started making fun of it, saying that she looked 3 months pregnant, which was very unfortunate given that she was a mother of 3, but anyway. But fortunately, the contest was over, and the winner was not Jennifer. The winner of the contest was named Lucy Davidson, and Jennifer had placed second. And after everything she went through with drinking all of that water, her stomach bloating, and the soon-to-be mental and physical repercussions of it all, she would be given not one, but 2 tickets to a Justin Timberlake concert. Yay!
Shut the
Oh, and also the final photo that was ever taken of her, this iconic photo of her, that is her holding the tickets. Yeah, that's great. So, after the contest had wrapped up, Jennifer's husband had to drive her home, and the effects of the water were starting to take a toll on her. She felt like there was a sense of pressure all over her body, and mainly at her skull and around her eyes. She felt like her eyes were about to pop, even her saying, "I am coming out of my skull." It is so gruesome to listen to, and even more tragic when you know that she didn't win first place. So, after she got back home, she had just decided to go to bed. She actually didn't feel the need to urinate or vomit or anything. She and her husband had just thought that she could just sleep it off. She did speak to a coworker of hers, Laura Rios, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, shortly after the contest had ended, also letting her know how she was feeling afterwards. So, sometime after that, Laura had gotten in contact with Jennifer's mother, wanting to know how she was doing, because she had went to bed after that. An hour after that, the mom stopped by Jennifer's home, only to find her daughter unresponsive on the bed, with no indication of life. No pulse, no heartbeat, no breath, no voice, nothing. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Department would confirm later that day that she had indeed passed away, succumbing to the effects of the challenge, and a later autopsy confirmed that it was in fact due to water intoxication. Sometime after that, other contestants that took the challenge came forward to speak about how they felt after they competed, and the effects it took on them were rough. One had gained 60 pounds and would suffer from mood swings. Lucy, the winner, said she began having a fear of water bottles at her job at Walmart, and also having a fear of contests and would no longer be able to listen to the radio. And one even said that they were destined to die young because of this contest, possibly in their own hands. They had contemplated on ending it because of this contest. It is so tragic how much damage this contest has caused. I can't even explain it I can't even pressure it any further how dangerous this contest was. So, that was it. Jennifer passed due to the contest. She had signed the release so the radio station wouldn't be sued. They got away with it. Or did they? You see, those legal papers that they had all of the contestants fill out in order to not get sued, the ones that they were constantly mocking at in the audio,
I like that we laugh at that. Yeah. Make sure he signs the release.
those were only for publicity coverage, not death coverage. So the family had the possibility to file a lawsuit on the KDND station. Actually, a ton of lawsuits were filed. Some were filed against the broadcaster, some were targeting the whole station. The one that got fired would file one against the former employees due to wrongful termination, and overall, not hundreds, but thousands of pages worth of claims were filed, all because of this competition. The end goal they wanted would be to shut down the radio station and pay the family for damages. The lawsuit would have to go on for the next 2 years after that, with investigations as to if 107.9 had violated their terms of license, and KDND's website even teased that they would be saying goodbye, only for it to be another publicity stunt for them. But finally, on October 29, 2009, the suit was over, and Jennifer's surviving family would be given a total of $16,557,118 in monetary damages, and found that Intercom LLC was 100% at fault for her passing. And honestly, we couldn't ask for a better outcome. After the lawsuit had ended, many of the employees that worked at KDND would move on to other hosting jobs. When KDND's license was up for renewal in 2013, a petition was made against it by the Media Action Center, and in 2016, it was designated for hearing by the FCC. Then, finally, on February 3rd, 2017, Entercom had announced that KDND's license would be terminated by the FCC on February 8th. The end was finally coming to a close. They later stated that they would have fought to keep it had it not been for the fact that the day before, Entercom announced that they were planning on acquiring CBS Radio. KDND's formats would be relocated to a different station on February 6th, with the final track playing before the switch was Scars to Your Beautiful by Alessia Cara. A fitting song if you ask me. The station then began a 48-hour jockless pop playlist, telling people to redirect to the new station, KUDL, and the backing track to the ending of the station being Bye 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 by NSYNC. Then finally, on February 8th, 2017, at 12:01 a.m., right as Bye 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 was still in the middle of being played, KDND's transmitter had shut down. Nearly 70 years of music history had finally come to an end. It's honestly really unfortunate how all of this had unfolded. Imagine spending your life working up to becoming a mother and having children, only for it to be taken away from you so soon, all because of a radio contest near deliberately designed to damage its contestants. And on top of that, the radio station that had been built up for the past 60 years now being ran by idiots who destroyed its reputation and shutting down the station for good over it. It's why we as people need to be careful with what we say yes to. Sure, we may enjoy the thrill of a new risky challenge that rewards us with something valuable, but we also have to remember that we need to be safe with what we do. We literally only have one life to live with, and most of us aren't even ready to face the idea of not being alive anymore. So to literally anybody out here who's watching this video, please remember to stay safe. It's okay to have fun, but it's also okay to be safe while having fun. And hopefully, the generation of today will be certain to remember that. Or, at least, I hope.
This morning, a family in Ohio is pleading with parents to talk to their kids after they say the latest TikTok challenge caused the death of their 13-year-old son. Jacob Stevens died after 6 days on a ventilator. His family says he overdosed on Benadryl, all because of video.
Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching this essay video about Hold Your Wii for a Wii. This was an essay video that I had actually been wanting to work on for quite a while now, but I never really got to work on it until now, and I actually had an interesting time researching into it, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did making it. If you guys did like how this video turned out, then be sure to hit the like button, and if you're new, the subscribe button and the notification bell, so that way you'll be notified whenever I upload a video. If you have any suggestions as to what I should talk about next, or if you have any fan art that you want to submit to me, you could submit them all via all the social media links on the screen right now, which will be in the description below. And I also have a link tree, so that way you guys could follow my links there as well. I really did need this because I have a lot going on right now. And I also have live streams going on and YouTube shorts as well, which have been also amazing. So with that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.